Hello, and welcome back to my podcast. Today, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to talk about. I know I wanted to get a podcast up this week, and I'm kind of just in a chit-chatty mood. I got off the phone with two of my friends, so I don't know. And I got my Adderall bumped up to 15 milligrams, so maybe that's why I want to talk. I've been doing good. I hope that you guys have been doing good. I appreciate all the fucking love on my pods lately and all my episodes. You guys are great. And I've gotten some in-person feedback from some people, like coworkers, friends, and everybody's been really liking it, thinking that it's interesting. So if y'all think that what I have to say is interesting, then get ready for shit that's random as fuck. I think this is exactly what that's going to be, is random as fuck. I had started to record a episode, which I was trying. I'm not going to say trying, because I was doing it. So I'm not going to say trying. I was taking little bits of this book on narcissism, and with each kind of example of narcissism, I would read a poem that kind of captured that. And I had recorded it twice. I had spent an hour trying to get it going, and I just didn't like how it was formatted. And I'm wondering if, like I had said, the unedited, not format is probably going to work better for me, to be honest, because it just felt like pressure. And I don't like that. I don't want to feel pressure to create art, because I feel like that ruins it. And I kind of wanted to discuss some things about art today, and just some other random shit, things I've been noticing about life, which for one, the main problem I have, and maybe you guys can relate to this, is confidence. And I don't mean like confidence where, maybe I should use a different word. I'm going to use a different word. It is, I doubt myself. We'll say I doubt myself, because I do have confidence, and I don't want to say that I don't. I doubt myself, and I've been through a couple interesting things lately which have made me mad that I've doubted myself. I always end up being right about things. That's the crazy shit. Is I doubt myself. I fully gaslight myself, which is something that Kyle, my boyfriend, had pointed out to me this past weekend, is I constantly gaslight myself, which is a huge thing in narcissism, in narcissistic people, is gaslighting. So when you grow up with a mother that constantly tells you that's not how it happened, you're remembering it wrong, basically takes away, it takes away any... I've used individuality in the past, but I don't want to use that word. It takes away the ability to learn how to feel confident within yourself and your decisions. And this bitch at the same time would get mad at me when it took me too long to make a fucking decision. That's something we can talk about. Is I actually haven't really been thinking or talking about my mother recently, because it just doesn't contribute anything positive to my life to ruminate on something like that. But yeah, a lot of the things that she would get frustrated with me about were ones that she caused. So it's so crazy to get older, and truly see that. It's very trippy, because I've had a lot of instances lately where, sorry, I'm trying to pull up these poems, where I'm wondering, like, why I behave a certain way, and you just remember, oh, well, they did this, so that would definitely make me, think like this. Like my mother and her narcissism, which I think if anybody who has a narcissistic parent, they'll be able to relate a lot to this. And maybe I will be able to kind of do what I was trying to do with my last podcast and just do it in way looser format, because I probably have a poem to go about this. Narcissists are very, very obsessed with how they appear to people on the outside. So when I was a child, I wasn't allowed to, talk about our business, or which, I kind of talked about in the last episode, where like, if you traumatize me and treat me like shit, it's kind of my business now, fuck, I hate computers. Y'all don't even, my goodness, I can't stand them. Anyway, I'm just going to stop touching it. But the outward opinion is extremely important to a narcissist, and they will do anything in their power to protect what they look like. So I remember a lot. I'll give you an example that actually is pretty fucking hurtful. When I was probably around 14 or 15, I decided, like I actually still do to this day, that I wanted to grow out my armpit hair and all my hair. I wanted to grow out all of it because I wanted to see what it looked like. And I've always been fascinated with society's like expectations and completely not listening to them. I actually have a poem right here in front of me about it, and I'm going to read it. These are all poems that I have written from my heart, from my mind, all the way down to the tips of my fingers where I held the pen to fucking write them. They're all mine. I tap dance on the lines society has created, crossing them jovially, involuntarily, degenerate. I hope I said jovially wrong. Or hopefully I said it right, but whatever. It is what it is. I've always been interested in shit like that, like watching hippie documentaries and stuff, and just seeing that these women didn't give a fuck, because in reality, your hair grows in your armpits because it's supposed to. So, like, just recently, I grew my armpits out for, like, 2 months just to see what it looked like, and I liked it. And then I decided I wanted to shave it off, so I shaved it off. And I still shave my legs during that whole time, but, like, it's just something that I like to do sometimes, and it makes me feel, I really like feeling primal, which, actually, I'm going to write that down, because I feel like that could be a decent little topic to talk about. I wanted to grow out, I'm going to go back to my story. I wanted to grow out all my armpit hair and everything, and during the summer, because it's also a way that I feel confident in a weird way, is knowing I'm doing something that other people aren't doing, or doing something that isn't typically loved, and loving it myself. It does give you confidence. I think that makes sense. Me and my mother had gone on a tubing trip with one of her friends and a couple of his friends, and keep in mind, the person that we went with was gay, a gay dude, and his 2 girlfriends. So it's all girls, too. When we were sitting on the rafts, my mom had whispered to me, the next time we go out, or when we get home, whatever the fuck she had said, that I'm going to shave my armpits and my pubes or my legs or whatever, because it was embarrassing to her. And that is just... that is such a silly example compared to everything that she has done. I remember she took me to an R-rated movie when I was younger. She always did, which, I mean, growing up, it was just normal to me, but now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, why did you always take me to R-rated movies? Well, there was this chick, and this older black woman, she was standing outside of the theater when we had gotten out of the movie, and she started judging my mom for letting me see that movie. And I was probably 10, 11, 12. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt, because I wanted to say 9, but I don't think I was 9, so I'll say 12. And my mother got pissed with me because I didn't defend her. And just think about all, like, the levels to that. Like, mother takes daughter to R-rated movie, gets judged, I'm supposed to defend her. Just think about that. Think about that life. I don't want pity at all. I'm just asking to place your feet in somebody else's shoes for a minute, just to laugh at that, at how fucking crazy that shit is. This bitch wants me to defend her for doing something that she did wrong. Like, story of my fucking life. Not just with my mother either. My whole family. But yes, so that's just one example of narcissists and their complete fixation on how they are viewed through the world. And the reason that they are so fucking intertwined with that is they constantly feel guilt and shame. Can you imagine? Imagine what I just what I told you. My mother also, just to keep in mind, like my mother included, but a lot of different narcissists are not stupid people. I have always actually given my mother her flowers. My mother is a very smart person. My mother's a big reader. She does have a lot of talents. They just don't use them to benefit the common good. So they are constantly feeling guilt and shame because they're doing fucked up shit like this that they know is wrong because they are smart. It doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist to realize right and wrong sometimes, you know? So, and if you think about there's a lot of business, think about business, think about anybody in power. There's a healthy level of narcissism with that and being a boss and making sure things are taken care of, but there's also a very unhealthy level of it as well. So, you know, talking about like the guilt and shame, like I even just firsthand, you know, my mother always felt guilt and shame, which is why she would eventually take it out on me because I was a direct reflection of my mother. Like the way a child acts is a direct reflection of what they see at home. And if that's a foreign concept to you, then please read. Because it totally makes sense. 100%. At least I think so. So the guilt I know I keep repeating myself, but I'm just thinking about how crazy is it that someone knows what they're doing is wrong? Not all the time, but a lot of the time. They know what they're doing is wrong. They continue to do it. And whilst doing it, they are ruining somebody's mental health. Absolutely ruining it. So imagine that, and I'm finally circling back to my point. Imagine feeling that fucking pressure. And then imagine your own paranoia. Well, my mom's always told me that people are looking. Pretty much, right? That's the gist of what I just said. So I'm going to be paranoid about people looking at me. Like, and like a judgment or just in general, like she would say, well, you don't want to do this because then that person will think that you're doing this. Or like all the time. So complete projection of her own guilt and shame and her own negative qualities onto me. And that's just one thing, not to mention the multitudes of other things. So as I find that poem, it should be right around here. Because I had started to like section some of them out. And I was just like, you know what? I want to share my fucking poems. So I'm going to share my fucking poems. And of course, the first one that I shared with you ever was the smallest one, like period. But here we go. This is a poem that I believe kind of encapsulates what I felt like when it came to the projection of wondering how I was being perceived by others. This poem is titled, Without You, I Am Me. As for now, could change. I have peeled back the paint that I would douse myself in to look pretty only for you. I forgot how many layers there were. As I lay here, untouched from you for a while now, I delicately and slowly choose the shades I would like for myself. I lack any urgency in this moment, enjoying how raw and unfinished I look, because it's all mine now, all mine. That is that poem. And I think I actually could probably add more to this, and that would be really fun. Just to give like maybe another example of how I felt so, what word do I want to use? Just pressure. I'm going to go back to that word because it's the pressure and it's the anxiety of hoping, praying that the amount of fawning you can do over somebody and do as many things that they want you to do as possible, and they still aren't fucking happy. You know, so when I say I've peeled back the paint that I've used to douse myself, and it's like, I fucking left because your standards aren't that of anyone that's reasonable, especially for someone who has the lowest standards for themselves. Like, I won't even get into that because I don't care for it to be my business anymore. But how I grew up was trashy as fuck. As I got older, I would have people, like, not say anything necessarily rude, but I would have people over, and we won't even say that they said anything. I will just say, having people over after going to other people's homes, it really did open my eyes as to what I was living in. And that is actually one of the reasons my boyfriend wanted me to move in with him, is he didn't want me to live in it anymore. And that is not the reason I moved in with him, was to get away from that. It's because I genuinely liked him. And now genuinely really love him. But yeah, going back to that poem, ADHD, y'all already know, okay? Yeah, the paint I would douse myself in, the lies I would tell myself and her to make both of us feel better. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. And what I mean, when I say, as I lay here untouched from you for a while now, I've been gone. And I have been able to delicately choose which colors and what things I would like in my life. And she is not one of them. It's just so crazy. And I'm actually really glad that I picked up my fucking thing and I started recording today, because this is exactly how I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be unedited, unfiltered, and unbothered, because I don't give a fuck, like, and I deserve to tell any part of my story that I want. And going back to my poem, saying that I lack any urgency in this moment, I'm waiting for myself to relax, for things to fall into place, cause I'm enjoying myself. I'm trying to. It's hard. It's hard because I don't know how. Because I watched a woman not know how to enjoy herself, which actually is a dot that I'm just fucking connecting now. How would I have known how to enjoy myself or time to myself when she so clearly was not okay? She would constantly complain about being alone if I left to go to a friend's house or dance as I got older. When I left and started sleeping over at Kyle's more, she blamed the dog acting out on me. And, the dog was giving her such a hard time taking her on walks and shit. It's like, oh, yeah, it's all me. It's all me. Okay. And also, who gives a fuck? Who says that to their daughter? Somebody that doesn't want them to leave so they can control them. Like, you're blaming the shit about the dog on me. Like, what the fuck? Like, just such crazy shit. And I'm not even saying this to just shit on this human being. I'm not. I'm absolutely astounded half the time that any of this shit is fucking real. Like, people give me double takes all the time when I tell them about my childhood, and I'm like, no, it's fucking true. Like, this shit's actually true. And I didn't believe it was true because I kept being told that it was wrong. And it wasn't. So, what the fuck, And I hate that. I hate the fact, I guess that's why I'm so growth oriented, and I want to make sure that I'm so, good, because I don't want anybody to have that power over my brain again. I honestly don't think anybody ever could, because I, cut that shit really quick. But, oh, man, so fucking irritating. But I'm not even trying to, sit here and dwell. I'm not. I'm trying to share a little bit of art, shed a little light. I tell you these things because I know when I heard, some first examples about like a parent or somebody being a narcissist in your life, when I heard a couple examples, just random shit, like a real video of like a psychologist talking, or somebody who had a narcissistic mother, like whatever. Whenever any of that shit started to pop up for me after I had looked up what being a narcissist entailed, I felt like someone finally understood me. I felt like, oh my God, I resonate with something. This makes sense. And if I can do that for anybody, and tell you that these things that I'm saying are actually like, yeah, they're fucked up and they're wrong and nobody should be doing this to you, maybe I can open somebody's eyes to how they're being treated so they can live their life better. That's all I'm trying to do. Because I genuinely actually do not want to sit here and dwell on all the things that happened to me. And I don't want to sit here and tell a whole bunch of sad stories about, my mother that I don't share my life with anymore. Like, it's not worth it to me. Because I'm trying to move on. I'm trying to live. But kind of going back a little bit to just the narcissism, because I've met tons of narcissists. I have other narcissists in my family, so this is not just about her. Kind of going back to that poem, about, dousing myself in this paint to look pretty for you. There really was no pretty enough. Like there was nothing, there's nothing you can truly do to make these people happy. You can't, because they genuinely, they can't be happy. There's even narcissists that have come out and like done interviews who have said, oh yeah, like I'm a full-blown narcissist. Like I can't actually have a true friend because I'm thinking of what I can get out of it for myself. I'm not genuinely thinking about your feelings, or it's crazy. These people, like I've said before, they are truly diabolical. It is all about them. Like everybody has that moment, like where they feel selfish. But until you meet a narcissist, or just as a reminder to tell yourself about the narcissist, you're not. Like maybe you are for the minute and you're being a bitch or being selfish, but it's like there's no selfishness like a narcissist, because anyone who creates a human being or starts to try and cultivate a human being who is nothing like themselves, and you're making them for you, you're a fucked up person. And what these people do ends up just only having you doing for them. So just to kind of tell my story, and I'm going to read another poem for you guys. When I moved out with Kyle, we had known each other for I'd known him for like a year and a half, but we had been dating for 5 months. I was nervous. I didn't know if it was going to work out. I was scared. But I knew I needed to leave, because what was going on at the time just simply wasn't right. There was no one thing I can point out. My mother's drinking was out of control. Her abuse was getting bigger and bigger, because when you think of, and I guess it does help to just tell my story and say that this is my mother, but my mother created me. And yes, she created me in her womb, but she created who she wanted to be around. And when I didn't provide exactly what that was, she was not happy, because it made her feel uncomfortable. So you end up feeling nothing inside. So when I moved out, we had known each other 5 months, moved to Florida, I wasn't uncomfortable because of Kyle. I wasn't uncomfortable because of my mom. I mean, because of her, yes, but like I wasn't directly uncomfortable. I mean, actually, you know what? I take it back. I was, because she was also not happy with me leaving either. So it was a whole thing. Anyway, I was unhappy with myself, and I didn't. And when I previously I've talked about like the individuality that a narcissist will take from you. It really is true. I didn't know who the fuck I was. I still don't. You never really do. But that amount of not knowing who you are, feeling so confused, gaslighting yourself continuously, it's so hard. It is so fucking hard to not know why you're like that. To not know why your life is so difficult, and that support system that you thought you had is actually what's hurting you the most. What are you to do? What are you to do with all you thought you knew has turned into this crazy fucking lie? And you realize that the reason that this person was doing these things, like, of course, there's actual maternal instincts. And there were times there was lots of times with my mom that were absolutely fine. I'm talking about what it did to me in general. That is what's important to me now. Because that is where I have to fix things because somebody broke me this bad. You know, I'm not broken. Somebody broke things in me, and now it's my job to fix them. And I'm okay with that. But it's just simply never enough. You can completely transform yourself for this person, and it still won't be enough. I remember, making myself feel small so that she would feel okay. I realized, this is where I was trying to go with the other thing. Sorry. The control aspect, you can control someone who's small. And I think I had started talking about this, but I kind of ended up on a different page. My mom was getting so frustrated with me because I was getting older and I was learning things. And they were different than what she wanted me to believe. And, what's funny is that she would say that all of this is a lie and it's not true. And that's okay. That's fine. But it's just, again, there's that paranoia. There's that, and I don't give a fuck because it is true. And so I'm telling myself this shit. But when you have a young child, you can control what they're doing. It's almost like your job. But because you get older, you're learning, like I said, different things, you're experiencing different things, you're growing. Your parents' job while you do that is to support you and guide you. Not judge you. Not make you feel like shit about mistakes. Not helping you learn or not helping you by leading from example. It's like, what I find so funny is, this is just an example, but I'm going to read my poem because I know I'm getting kind of all over the place. But like, just as something as not as simple as a relationship, my mom would try to give me advice. And if you know me personally, I'm sure you're laughing your ass off right now. Because as far as I have been alive, and I'm talking almost 23 years, this chick has never had a good relationship. Like, ever. And I don't think that she ever really had one before me either. And I know that the relationship between her and family members or her father must have been strained as well. So it's like, you really never had what you needed from a man that you were in a relationship with, nor did you give what you should have given. So do you really have any room to talk about my relationships at all? Like, crazy shit. It's just so trippy. It's so fucking trippy to be thinking about these things. And even talking about them out loud, it's actually really, it's not uncomfortable for me. It's just so crazy to be admitting these things out loud that happened, But like I was saying, as you get older, she wasn't able to control me anymore. So I just remember my whole life, like, making myself smaller, like I had said, to make her feel better, and even in ways like just people pleasing. And by what I mean by smaller doesn't mean what you think it means. It can, but more, like, less of an issue, less of a bother, more independent. Like, those are all things that are coping strategies for people when they don't, like, and I always feel like a burden. Always feel like a burden. Look at all the shit I do for you. You don't even get it. You won't get it till you work, or you won't get it till you have kids. It's like all the time with this shit. Look at this. I remember the last time I was up there with a surgery, and I left with that. I had surgery. Almost a month later, maybe half a month later, I ended up moving out as soon as possible, like when she didn't even know, because I could not be there anymore because it was so bad. She went out drinking with a friend, came home. I was still like semi-crippled, depressed. I felt like I stunk. I hadn't showered in a few days. I asked her to help me take a shower. And she said, "You are so fucking ungrateful. You don't, like, you're ungrateful." She told me I was ungrateful. She told me that she has to work the next day and how rude it was that I was asking. Like, anything I needed was somewhat of a burden. So other things not. I'll give her the flowers. She did get shit done. She can. But a lot of it half-ass. Like, everything seemed like it would just pain her, you know, or it was irritating, or, ooh, what is she going to think? Oh no. Like, there wasn't any room for error. And actually, that's a lot like a place that I know. I'll say that for y'all who know. There's no room for error, and there was a lot of pettiness. And it just really, truly tears you. It tears you down. And to make yourself smaller, to sacrifice your own needs for your parent, I'm sorry. Unless they're in an old age home and it's their last couple years and they're inconveniencing you, go ahead if you love them, right? And they took good care of you. Doing this shit for my parent, the whole thing is fucking backwards. The whole thing. What do you mean? Why do I feel like a burden? Because you made me feel like a burden. Why would you make your kid feel like a burden? Like, what fascinates me, and like why I'm kind of am ruminating on this a bit, is just the utter nerve of her to say that that wasn't what she was doing, or it wasn't her intention, or that's not how it happened, when that's all I can see, especially being out and growing, you know. But here's this poem. It's currently untitled. I'm not sure what I want to label it. But I feel like this really encapsulates everything I talked about. So I'm glad I ruminated on a minute, because I'm glad that I ruminated on it for a minute. Good Lord, cannot talk. I'm glad that I talked about it because it actually set up the poem better. So I think that that's good. I have been throwing rotten tomatoes at the mirror, raining on my own parade, and bursting my bubble for far too long. I lacked any self-assurance, any pride within my soul. You made me for you. I didn't think I could live without your approval. How could I move on without your acceptance? But my chest still heaves, and still I wake to live the life I'm sure you despise. And that is that one. I'm just going to sit with that for a minute, and I hope that you guys can too. I lacked any self-assurance, any pride within my soul. You made me for you. This is truly, that just sentence in itself is bigger than any of you guys could know, because you're not me, obviously. But the thing is I gave pride. Didn't keep it for myself. I gave that. She could feel proud because I was behaving in the way that, you know, benefited her. Any self-assurance, so there we go back to the doubt, self-doubt. Lacked it, yet she had it. It's truly crazy that you don't know at all what's going on in somebody's home. You don't know what anyone is going through. You don't know what anyone is dealing with, because she would be told constantly that she was a great mother and that I was so lucky to have her as a mother. And vice versa. She was lucky to have me as a daughter. She heard that too. And believe me, she was, and she lost that privilege. You know, like, yo, you should be so proud. But it wasn't like, my mother would take my achievements and go tell people before I even had the chance to. Do you know what that does to a child? Like, how am I ever going to learn to feel okay and be proud of myself when you took all of it for yourself? Because anything, you know, I would want to go tell my grandma. Be like, oh, I got this medal at this thing. Or I got this on this test that I was really worried about. I would call her or go see her, and she already knew about it. Because my mother had taken it for herself. And there has been moments where my mother had said, you should be proud of yourself. But I don't think that she ever taught me what that was. And I genuinely actually think that she doesn't know what it is herself. And I do believe, like, with everything I've said today, of all the things that she didn't do or she did not do, I genuinely don't believe that she could herself. Like, the reason, I don't know. It's crazy because at this point in time, and I'm proud of myself for this, I've kind of, like, accepted a lot of things recently. I guess I'm kind of glad that I can mix some poems in there and tell a couple of my stories. I feel like this is fun. I hope you guys are having fun. If not, then click off. Love you. You know, I recently went, and actually I think that I might have talked about this. I'm not sure. I went back to, like, my secondary hometown, and, you know, to visit family. I hadn't seen them in a year, and I figured it was time, and I had something that was telling me to do it, you know. I went back, drove down, like, the hour and a half, and nothing had changed because they still didn't really give a fuck about me. And something that I'm going to say right now is, I know that they're not listening to this because I don't really think that they know it exists. And if they are, I really don't give a fuck, because they don't. I don't know if it's because I'm black, which there's poems about that as well. So maybe I'll pull one of those up. I don't know if it's because I'm black, if I'm half black, if my mom didn't marry my dad. I don't know if it's because I'm just too different, which I have a poem about that, and I will pull that up. I don't know what the fuck it is, but I simply cannot do enough for these people. And actually, I'm going to read this right the fuck now, so please listen. I must have come crashing into the world like a baseball through a glass window, seeing how almost any of my words or actions put you in a bewildered trance. Too different. That fit right the fuck in there. I love that. I truly believe that that is what the cause is. I think that race does play a part because I have stories about that as well, which makes me know it's a part of it. But they don't know what the fuck to do to me or say to me. They don't know, because I am so different and so much better than them that I think it's intimidating and confusing. Because there's truly no other explanation for why I should be treated the way that I was treated. Example. I bought 2 cars, hoopties, totaling over $4,500. My mom chipped in some, absolutely. Thanks. Although, you know, she sold it when I was in Florida, didn't tell me till the day after, and kept the money. So do with that with what you please. I I bought the 2 cars, and a family member of mine had gotten their first one. And everyone cheered and everyone was thrilled. But when I got my cars, 2 that I bought myself, there was nothing. Like, nothing said. It was a big deal for them, but not for me. And that's genuinely how I always kind of felt, was second. I actually had a conversation with a friend about that, was we always feel second. And even to my mother at times, I believe I was second, because my mother would also pin my family against me and then say things about me behind my back about how much she was mad at me, instead of defending me and helping me. I'm going to give you guys another example, because they're just kind of flooding to my head. And I feel like if they're flooding to my head, then it means I should share them, because usually they don't. I remember I got into an argument with a family member, and I stood up for myself, and the ladies in my family got immediately quiet, which just shows where that generation is from. And I told my mother I want to leave, and she handed me her car keys and told me I could leave. So thanks for the car. Appreciate that. Thank you for leaving me. Why didn't you defend me? Why didn't you defend me to the motherfucker that was being mean to me? Why didn't you defend me to the family member that was talking to me like shit when I'm your daughter? You didn't. And don't think I didn't notice that, because I did. Very selective in what in what she wanted to help me with at times, and I find that to be interesting. Ironically, I mean, I don't know why I ever fucking were. I don't know why I doubt myself, because exactly what I was saying, I just stumbled upon another one of my poems. Literally stumbled upon. I'm not lying. I know you can't see me, so it seems like I'm lying. But I happened to like pick one of these out, and it ended up being about something I was talking about. But yeah, I had went down to visit my family. Sorry, I ended up I'm still talking about family, so I'm just telling older stories. I had just went down there, and it really solidified that I wasn't missing anything. I wasn't missing out on shit. They're the ones missing out. I went down and saw them a month ago. Yeah, and I've heard nothing since. They didn't ask me a single thing about myself. I told them I was working on a poetry book. And I'm talking like this is immediate family. This isn't extended family. This is blood, like, mother's mother type shit. Didn't ask me a single fucking thing about myself. I know on the phone, it was a little bit different, better relationship on the phone, which a friend helped me point that out recently. But because they had asked me a couple of questions like over the phone, but you don't see your blood for a year. She just vanishes after a huge argument with a family member. Not even an argument, a whole lifetime of bullshit with a family member, and she escapes, and you have no idea what the fuck to say to her. You don't know what to do. And that's fine, because honestly, like, I'm actually so happy that I started fucking recording today, because I am so confident within my ability to be okay without these motherfuckers. And you are too. You are too. Believe me, coming firsthand, the only support system I have are a couple cool chicks at work and my boyfriend. That's it. There is no blood that has my fucking back. So if I can do it, you guys can do it too, and you can live that life that y'all fucking deserve. Because believe me, it is way better when you fucking leave. You actually feel like a human being and not something for somebody else. Remember that. And I'm 100% sober, just so you know. I'm not like overly passionate because I'm drunk or anything. No one deserves to be treated in such a negative manner, no matter what it is, how they're doing it. Nobody. Always try to leave if you can. Always try to eliminate yourself from a situation like that, because you deserve better. You really, really, truly do deserve better. And I deserve family that asks about my life instead of nothing. Looking at me as if I'm not a stranger, but I almost should just be, I absolutely baffling. Like, you know how hurtful it is to visit your father in August and visit your family members in first week of March, possibly last week of February, and be working on something you're so proud of and you talk about openly and no one asks to hear it when they're your blood. I'm talking like parent, which when you're a parent, you should take interests in the things your children have interests in. Like, as long as, like, I mean, you don't have to be completely into soccer just because your kid plays soccer. But, like, if your kid created something and is proud of it, it's kind of your job to ask about it and ask them to share it. Like, at least just in my opinion, I feel like that makes sense. I don't know. I find it so fucking fucked up, and I just know that I'm meant for something better, and so are you. So I want to read this poem for you. It's called Harlot. I cannot be handled nor wrangled. I am too free, too obscure, too dignified to need handling anyway. That one has always been my favorite. And the word harlot actually has come to me in the past month, because I like to use words. I like to use words that most people don't hear. I get lots of compliments on my vocabulary, which is, fuck being pretty. I want to hear about my vocabulary in my brain. I think that's great. And I also like to use words that have a very negative connotation, and make them positive, because words are extremely important. But if you put the right inflection on them, they either can be or they can't be, if that makes sense. So using the word harlot, I have this idea of, like, if I ever have a band or like a group, I want to name it the Starving Harlots, because for me, in my brain, like, I know what a harlot means, she's a whore, whatever the fuck. But to me, I've always been friends with the whores, been friends with the druggies, the drunks. I've been friends with the people that I like to call freebirds. I call people freebirds when I feel like they really are in tune with me in the sense that, like not shaving my armpits. Like being told my whole life, ooh, you're fiery, and then, shutting shit down, or not doing what is expected of me and still succeeding. That's what I feel like it means to be a free bird. That's what I think it means to be a fucking harlot. And of course, there's people that really fit the term or really fit the trick, and they're fucking, whatever. There's always going to be people that really fit a stereotype and not in the best way. But taking a word and making it your own, my mother called me a loser. The last thing that my mother said to me, and I actually would like to make this public because I want her to hear this if she ever listens. Not because I'm trying to be diabolical, but because I'm really trying to prove a point here. The last words that my mother have said to me, because I left in the early morning of that day and I hadn't seen her again. So I was a lazy bitch, lazy cunt, lazy like my father, and a loser. That's what my mother said to me. But if I'm a loser, then I'm going to be the best fucking loser in my life. And I find it so funny that a loser told me that. So make Make your fucking words the way you want them to be heard. And I think that poetry for me, and I actually would like to talk about this for a minute. Poetry for me has been freedom, has been, I'm honestly like stuck for words. So stuck for words I could cry. Like, oh my God, like to look at this, to be able to share this and to know that it's my fucking story and to know that it's so good. I've just read you guys the tip of the iceberg. I'm thinking about doing shorts, just with some poems, if you guys would like. But poetry has really, really been able to capture what I need it to, and to be able to use so many different words. Like I always try to look at the synonyms for words, because I never feel like, like even the word dignified, okay? I could look up a synonym for that and really resonate with a word that feels better but can mean the same thing. And I also love the fact that I've been able to take words and twist their meanings into something else that means something to me. And I think that that's what art is about. Art is not perfect. Art is not always beautiful to me. Art is meaningful. Art is dirty. Art is crazy. Art is angry. And I think that for me, when it comes to art, I've always been more in tune with the spoken word and just word, you know? I've always been an actress. I've always been into writing books. And I just think that it's beautiful. And I think to flip a page of a story and you're so encapsulated in a book, there's nothing purer than that. To hear somebody's story through like an autobiography, or to hear someone's pain through poetry or music, all it does is connect us. And I feel like everyone is so disconnected that going back to hobbies like reading and writing and listening to music, and I know that there's like the people that have been coming out today, like I've talked about Doechii on here before, like that bitch is out cold. And there is still so much talent in our generation. And sometimes I truly believe that there's not, because I mean, we got people making TikToks, making billions of dollars, doing dances that, you know, hardly make them move out of frame. You know, it's a lot, right? And I feel like there's so much disconnect. But when any artist who's truly passionate about what the fuck they're doing deserves flowers. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care if you're halfway done. If you're doing something that you're not being paid for, but you're doing it because you fucking love it, and it tells a story, or it shares something about you, or it proves a point, or it's making a stand, like anything, do it. Do it. Because we're lacking authenticity and creativity these days. We're copy and pasting instead of creating and allowing natural things to occur, you know, if that makes sense. I hope it does. But yeah, this was a great podcast, and I'm super glad that I did it. And it's 100% weird. It's 100% doesn't make. Hey, I got cut off there, but yeah, 100% weird. 100% sometimes maybe doesn't make sense. But if there's any questions, always ask. And I had a lot of fun today. I'm excited to do it again. I hope you guys enjoy it. And have a great day. Bye.